Isaac Hayes, and I am running against Jesse Jackson Jr., code name Senate candidate number 5 in the Rob Blagojevich indictment. And this election has been going very well, and I want to thank my most valuable player of my campaign staff, Rob Blagojevich, because his trial has been bleeping golden, and I'm just excited about what he's been doing to help us out.
We have some great people here tonight, and I was so excited that Aaron Schock was going to be here that I wore a pink shirt because I didn't want him to stand out too much.
This year especially, we have an opportunity to take our case to young Republicans all across the state, first among them here in Chicago. Why? Because they have seen firsthand what Chicago politics is all about. You have seen firsthand what Illinois politics is all about. And you, like no one else in the country, know what will happen to this country if we don't instill the tried and true two-party checks and balance system of government.
Oh yeah.
We know what billion dollar deficits will lead to. Who would have thought 4 or 5 years ago we'd have a governor talking about a 40% increase in the income tax? What are we looking at the federal level? A $1.4 trillion deficit last year, a $1.6 trillion deficit this year. On top of that, the $1 trillion stimulus bill. On top of that, the $1 trillion health care bill. You couldn't make this stuff up 2 years ago if you tried. And so what is the Democrats' response in Washington, D.C.? Very much similar to what they're trying to do here in Illinois. A VAT tax, doubling the capital gains rates. The House of Representatives passed a bill. Everybody was asleep nationwide in December. Why? Well, they were focused on what was going on in the Senate with the health care bill. You know what we were doing in the House? We were passing the Bush tax cut fixes. What did the Democrats want to do? Well, they want to reinstate the estate tax at everything above $3 million. If you got more than $3 million, you're too rich. We need half of it when you're dead. Then they wanted to take capital gains rates or marginal rates, bump them back up to what they were before the Bush tax cuts. High rate of 55%. And the killer was they want to take marginal tax or the capital gains rates from 15% to 35%. This bill passed the House of Representatives, is sitting over in the Senate. Now, anybody with half a brain in economics knows if you double the capital gains rates, you're going to have huge sell-offs. This economy is going to spiral. But they don't get the economics of it. The business community is starting to wake up. The small businesses and entrepreneurs are starting to wake up. But more importantly, young people all across this country are beginning to wake up. Why? Because the #1 issue they care about is getting a job. I had the opportunity a month ago to be on Ohio State University's campus. Ground zero for the Obama campaign 2 years ago. 40,000 voters voted on Ohio State University's campus. Steve Stivers, a friend of mine who ran in that election that has Ohio State University for Congress, lost to Mary Jo Kilroy by 1,000 votes. Now, how do you think those 40,000 voters are going to vote this year at Ohio State University? Well, I can tell you, having visited there, the #1 issue is, hey, I've been busting my butt for 4 years. I've got $50,000 in debt. And you know what? I want a job when I get out of here. I got to pay down this debt. And oh, by the way, I'm kind of concerned about all this tax policy I'm hearing about. Folks, they're starting to get it. And now is our opportunity to make gains not only in the House, but here in Illinois to win the governorship for Bill Brady, the U.S. Senate seat for Mark Kirk. What a message that will send.
Cook County Sheriff.
Scott Brown is a great guy. But if you think winning Ted Kennedy's seat is going to send a message, wait till we take Barack Obama's U.S. Senate seat. So I just want to say thank you for being here. Many of you who got into this floor wrote a check, and I want to say thank you. If you haven't written a check, write a check. I don't care if it's for $25. This is a very well organized machine. And guess what? It's the only machine. There's not another young Republican chapter in Chicago that I know about. This is the mechanism to get people involved. This is the mechanism to get their cell phone numbers, their email addresses, to get them engaged in statewide races as well as these congressional campaigns. We have had elections throughout the last 2 years across the country that have been won and lost by a couple hundred votes. Our governor's race decided by a couple hundred votes. So I've heard many of you, having visited Chicago on many occasions, say, well, I live in Chicago. My vote doesn't count. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this year your vote does count. Because this year, it may be close, I hope it's a landslide, but this year we can win and lose these House seats in the state of Illinois by a couple hundred votes. There was a special election up in New York 23. I campaigned for this guy. We lost by 235 votes. $2 million spent on each side, lost by 235 votes. So don't think that what you do between now and November can't be significant. And the result of the gubernatorial race, the U.S. Senate race, and any of these congressional races can lie among the power in this room. The 200 people in this room right here, if engaged, if soliciting the support, if registering voters, just 10 people for every one person here can deliver the outcome of the election. I would ask you to leave here tonight after you've had a few beers, hopefully not too many, that you think about what are you going to do. Okay, you've come here tonight, it's been fun, it's been social, it's been cool, got to talk to some fun people. What are you going to do about it? It's easy to complain, right? It's easy to show up at the coffee stand at work, complain about Blagojevich, complain about Quinn. How many of the people in the cubicle around you aren't registered to vote? And more importantly, how many of them didn't take the time that day to actually show up and vote? I'll tell you one thing, it's fun to vote, but it's a lot more fun to cast about 10 or 20 votes. And so if you can round up coworkers, friends, neighbors, people that go to your church, that live in your neighborhood, and get them registered to vote and educate them about the candidates, you can make a difference in the outcome of the election and change the direction of this country for the future, not only for ourselves, but for all future Americans. So thank you for being here tonight. I look forward to working with each one. We'll see you downstairs.